that we remain standing for the national anthem and the AU anthem, and immediately after the AU anthem we'll ask Sitlaela Azangaphambili to render the recital of the preamble of the Constitution. The African Union Anthem.
Let us all unite and celebrate together the victories won for our liberation. Let us dedicate ourselves to rise together to defend our liberty and unity. Oh, sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa a tree of life. Let us all unite and sing together to uphold the bonds that frame our destiny. Let us dedicate ourselves to fight together for lasting peace and justice on earth. Oh, sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life. Let us all unite and toil together to give the best we have to Africa, the cradle of mankind and font of culture, our pride and hope and break of dawn. Oh, sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all learners. Can you please just turn on page 3 of your passport of patriotism? The preamble of our Constitution. We, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of our past, honor those who suffered for justice and freedom in our land, respect those who have worked to build and develop our country, and believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, united in our diversity. We therefore, through our freely elected representatives, adopt this constitution as the supreme law of the Republic so as to heal the divisions of the past and establish a society based on democratic values, social justice and fundamental human rights, lay the foundations on a democratic and open society in which government is based on the will of the people and every citizen is equally protected by law. Improve the quality of life of all citizens and free the potential of each person, and build a united and democratic South Africa, able to take its rightful place as a sovereign state in the family of nations. May God protect our people. Nkosi singeleli Africa. Morena buluka setjhaba sa heso. God save Africa. God bless South Africa. Modimo fatuzetsa Africa. Hosi katekisa Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let us ask then Mrs. Kaba to come and welcome us on behalf of the Chief Director, Ms. T.P.J. Khoza, who could not be here, from KwaZulu-Natal Department of Education. Ezandleni.
Thank you so much, Siyabonga. I know that people from Gauteng, in particular, Northwest, Northern Cape, yeah, they think it's Suta Sazi. And you say Sazi Sut, okay? Sazi Sutulan. Yes, I'm supposed to welcome you on behalf of Umam Jabu Khoza, who's not here. However, I just want to do it the other way around. I want to say to you, on behalf of Ubaba Albert, on behalf of Ubaba Albert Lutuli, on behalf of Umama Nokukhanya Mabengu, we welcome you to KZN. I think it has been a mistake, Director, in the past, that we could hold an event such as this far away from Groutville, and it is perfect that it has happened here. And I'm hoping and I'm praying and I'm pleading that it comes here. I said it in one meeting, that over and over and over again. Maybe for at least 5 years. Please, let it come here. Honestly, it is the perfect place. Okay. Team KZN, please stand up. Team KZN, stand up. Okay? Now, I want you to welcome these people. And after we've done that, I'm going to leave the podium. Please welcome all these people. Thank you.
Some plans just work out perfectly. Because, please don't tell Mam Khoza this is what I said in Mam Khab. But I'm sure she would have read a speech here and would never have heard that Bayete thing there. I've always wanted to hear that being said to me, you know. I hear it being said to kings. So thank you very much for that. I also wanted to say, maybe to you, Dr. Mchunu, that one of the things that we did this year, which is very important, was that we wanted to make sure that language does not become a barrier to history and learning about history. And so the colleagues here have really pushed us very hard to ensure that there are some vernacular pieces that are delivered during our oral history program, so that people don't feel that because they can't speak English or they don't prefer to speak English, therefore they can't participate in oral history. The second thing that we did was to ensure that we have learners with special education needs, because we also don't want disability to be a barrier to young people engaging in oral history and national heritage and issues of social cohesion and nation building. So I thought I needed to mention that, and thank you, Mamukaba, for teaching us the language. So thank you very much. We've got our partners that have worked with us, a number of them. But in the interest of time, we've just asked one to speak on behalf of all the partners, but also on behalf of the organization where he comes from, Mr. Pim Tembu, the Director for Heritage Promotion in the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, to render a message of support.
Program Director, senior managers from the Department of Basic Education, the Deputy Chair and CEO of Nkosi Lituli Museum, the management of the Oral History Association of South Africa, OHASA, adjudicators, teachers, our learners, ladies and gentlemen. The Department of Sport, Arts and Culture is very honored to be invited by the DBE to be part of this important project. As South Africa, we have a very rich history and heritage that has been ignored in favor of European knowledge systems for over 300 years. Our African forebearers and our grandparents have a wealth of knowledge in the areas of science, technology, education, commerce, and all areas of life. For thousands of years, Africans had a solution for every challenge that their communities encountered, from the time a child is born, when the child comes of age, the child gets married, the people go to war, and at the time of death. Africans have their own belief systems that had nothing to do with many religions that Europeans brought to the people of Africa. Africans did not need to get employment in order to support their families. All families had a piece of land that was used to cultivate crops and raise livestock for the extended family. No one would go hungry because if you could work the land and raise livestock, there was enough food for everyone. I'm mentioning this for the benefit of our learners so that they will understand that the introduction of colonialism and apartheid in our continent disrupted a way of life for our people. When the land of our grandparents was taken at the barrel of a gun by both the Dutch and British invading forces, African people lost the land to cultivate their crops. Our history, our stories have not been written in books as much as the stories of the white people have been. All our learners here today have the advantage of going to school and can read and write in English. This means that you have the tools needed to tell African stories that our grandparents have but have been unable to write down. You are all South Africa's young historians. As the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, we started a project where we are documenting knowledge of our people. But this is not enough. We are hoping that as you have been told how to do research and write stories, you will unearth a lot of information from your parents, your grandparents, and people from where you come from, so that our stories can be also written down like the European stories. All of you today are winners. By participating in this project, you are moving our country forward. On behalf of the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, congratulations to all of you and thank you very much.
So we're going to invite to the podium our keynote address for today from Dr. Mxolisi Mchunu, who is the Deputy Chairperson of Luthuli Museum Council.
Thank you, Program Director. Representatives of the Office of the Deputy Minister of Basic Education, representatives of the Office of the MEC for Education in KwaZulu-Natal, Dr. Watson, the Chief Director from the Department of Basic Education, Mr. Pagamani Mthembu, Director from the Department of Sport, Art and Culture, adjudicators of the oral history competition, provincial coordinators, educators present here, OHASA representatives, learners from the various participating schools in all provinces, our partners and sponsors for the Inkosi Chief Albert Luthuli Oral History Program 2022, the Director and officials of the Department of Basic Education, the Director from Luthuli Museum and the officials from the museum, staff from the Department of Education and the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture in the province, Miss Ethel Mtiane, if she's present here, our sign language interpreter, members of the media and the viewers tuned in through our Luthuli Museum Facebook live streaming. I greet you all. So I greet you all in the name of Chief Albert Luthuli and our Museum Council, a chairperson, Mr. Important Mkhize, who unfortunately could not make it today in this occasion. But I also greet you in the name of the members of the council. So the Department of Basic Education's Inkosi Albert Luthuli Oral History Competition Program, befittingly named after Chief Albert Luthuli, gives learners an opportunity to celebrate and commemorate key local and national heroes and heroines who contributed to the country's freedom and building communities. This national competition has, since its inception in 2006, continued to increase the interest in history and heritage within secondary school teachers and learners in grade 8 to 11. The competition acknowledges in a significant way the effort of learners and the dedication of their educators. It continues to unearth and build an oral history archives of local communities, local significant events, and community leaders who would remain largely forgotten in the chronicles of history. It encourages scholars throughout South Africa to engage with their shared history, explore personal and community histories through research, writing stories, poetry, debate, and various mediums. By presenting their findings as supported by a portfolio of evidence and oral presentations, this competition thus promises to develop among our learners critical thinking and an informed outlook of life and global events. By so doing, they aspire for a South Africa and a world envisioned by our forefathers and founders of this democratic dispensation we live in today. Building a better South Africa, building a better Africa and a better world becomes the theme of the 2022 Inkosi Albert Luthuli Oral History Competition. This theme offers an opportunity for all of us here today to remember and recommit ourselves to the vision of leaders like Chief Albert Luthuli, who believed that the call for sacrifice is inevitable for those who remain truly committed to the higher cause of improving the lives of many other than their own loved ones. This is what informed Chief Albert Lutuli's famous call in 1952 to selflessness when he said, the road to freedom is via the cross. Now, Chief Albert Lutuli once remarked that, and I quote, education provides a common language, creates common attitudes and norms for citizens. It is an important factor in building national consciousness and pride, a healthy communal spirit, unquote. It therefore becomes important that the content of that education should not only be about transmitting facts and figures or mere relaying information. Education should indeed be about raising consciousness about the challenges and opportunities in the society. It should be about learning from the past to build a better future. It must build a better person whose aspiration in life is to be an agent of change, a person who will shine wherever he or she is, a community builder. This is what I observe here today in the eyes of these young people who have come from all corners of our country to congregate in Groundville, the home of our Nobel Peace Laureate and the leader of our struggle for freedom, Chief Albert Lutuli. It is with great honor that I stand before you in this evening on this auspicious occasion, just as we wrapped up the important month within the South African calendar, Heritage Month, whereby we recognize and celebrate the culture, or rather the cultural wealth of our nation. Chief Albert Lutuli, a teacher by profession, would have been proud to know that his legacy and values continue to inspire young people. As parents, we remain indebted to the educators present here today for their dedication and support they give to the learners. And a special recognition to the adjudicators who have committed their time and effort this weekend to this program. In 2021, the Lutuli Museum and its stakeholders commemorated 60 years of Chief Albert Lutuli Nobel Peace Prize received on the 10th of December 1961. It is a remarkable development that Inkosi Albert Lutuli Oral History Program has finally made its way to his home in Groundville, KwaDukuza, on the 1st of October 2022. This is a significant gesture by the Department of Basic Education, and we hope that learners felt the spirit of Lutuli as they spent time on the actual grounds where he and his family lived and received notable guests such as Nelson Mandela, U.S. Senator Robert F. Kennedy, Mrs. Coretta Scott King, the wife of the late Dr. Martin Luther King, and many more. Through the tours facilitated by our exceptional tour guides during the day, we hope that learners and those who accompany learners and officials got to experience a bit of history of Chief Albert Lutuli and the history of KwaDukuza, the home and the resting place of the great Zulu king, King Shaka Kasenza Ngakhona, when they visited King Shaka's monument. Now, with those few words, I wish you a successful evening in honor of Chief Albert Lutuli, and I wish all the participating learners and their teachers and adjudicators a safe journey back home. And I hope this Chief Albert Lutuli Oral History Competition of 2022 serves to broaden your horizon and makes you torch bearers for a better South Africa, the continent and the world. Let the spirit of Lutuli speak to you all. I thank you.
Thank you very much. You know, I was listening to you, I was listening to Mamukaba, and I'm thinking, hey, Bonke, they're like, hey, thank you very much for coming here. Hey, I'm thinking, the money must also follow the enthusiasm. If we're so enthusiastic about hosting it here, Mamukaba, that means we must go to eThekwini municipality for next year so that they also become part of the partners that can contribute to us preserving it here. Although it is a consideration that we have to make around ensuring that we also promote the heritage sites that exist around the country. So we can only be in your province, Dr. Mchunu, only for so long. All I know is that the CEO asked that, can they at least have 2 years? This year was a year of learning and teething space. Next year is a year of perfection before we move to another province, right? So as I'm going to be calling the Chief Adjudicator, Dr. Patlane, to come, I thought it's important, colleagues, that we recognize these wonderful men and women who have really contributed to this program. We've got Ms. Tandi Sibongile Ndashe. Can you stand and wave at the people? These are the adjudicators. Between we've got Dr. Nomsa Mdlalose Janji. We've got Ms. Lesego Mlambo. We've got Mr. Bulara Munyaki. I'm asking you guys to stand because I want, if they didn't win, I want them to come to you, not to me. Mr. Simon Matthias. Professor Sikhote Mukhwatsana. Miss Viwe Khea. Miss Maite Manganye. Miss Manes Charity Mbewe. Miss Brenda Kotse. Mr. Bongani Tando Mabaso. Miss Loiso Kumete. Mr. Mtunzi Zungu. Miss Nomfundo Kanyile. Agako. Miss Tato Mulefi. Akakho naye. Miss Zoleka Mkhabela. Mr. Alex Kwabe. Just in case, colleagues, when this book was compiled, your profile was not received, any other adjudicator that I did not mention to please stand. Okay, I think then I've mentioned everybody. I thought it's important because at every occasion, Mr. Klaba, yeah, I knew those cases always happen. Apologies, it doesn't mean that you are a less important adjudicator, but it really is a question of production. But we also recognize you. Thank you very much. Another round of applause. Thank you very much, because at every occasion of this nature, we always have Dr. Patlane who comes and he gives feedback to the learners and to the teachers on what we need to improve on when we prepare for the next year. And we never really get to see the men and women behind the results we're going to get today. So that's why I thought, Dr. Patlane, before you come up, that I need to also just recognize the people who have helped you in this enormous task. I saw some of them sitting under a tree, just trying to consolidate the results. So the results are audited. So there is no foul play. We tried as far as possible to give you the best and most reflective results of what happened today. So over to you, Dr. Patlane, just a few words.
Good evening, everybody. Are all protocol observed. Director, the doctor, I'm not going to mention, my voice is gone. We are all winners, ne? In this program, we are all winners. The fact that you have come to KZN, it means you are a winner. And those of you who are staying here, the fact that you have come to play host to your peers from other provinces, it means you are a winner. In you, we expect future historians, and the program is preparing you to become future historians. And then we are proud of you because now we are going to have historians. They say, history is knowledge, and there is no knowledge which is not historical. All knowledge is historical, and all reality is historical. We used to say this thing that we call the future, it does not exist. The future does not exist, and the future will not exist even in the future. Because if the future tries to exist, it immediately becomes the present and it recedes into the past. So the only reality is the past, which is history. There is no knowledge which is not in the past. If you know anything about Isaac Newton, you know history. You know anything about Pythagoras, you know history. So all reality is historical and all knowledge is historical knowledge. So those who do not remember history are doomed to repeat it. One wise person used to say, until the lions have their own historians, the history of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. Now we are happy we are going to have our own historians. The subject that had been neglected since the dawn of democracy, it only dawned to the powers that be that they've ignored the most important subject. It's only now that they are planning to make history a compulsory subject in basic education, because they realize that ka Sotho ba re ke leswika la motheo leo baagi ba ileng ba le tlogela. We have made a very big mistake. We have laid a foundation on a sand. Because every politician, if he takes to the podium, he talks history. They are coming to us to ask us to write speeches for them because they know we must go into history. They cannot, there's no president who can stand on the podium and not talk history. If he wants to be re-elected, he needs to remind you. There's just no one. Because when a person speaks, he must speak knowledge, isn't it? So what kind of knowledge will he speak if he does not speak history? Now, we encourage all of you who are who are participating in the program to go on and become historians. Even if you are doing maths and science, you must go on and become an historian after you have passed matric. You don't only have to be a doctor or what. just be interested in what happened, because history is basically what happened. But you can become, you know, it is very easy to become a doctor, because most of you in high school, you are doing many subjects. I don't know how many subjects they are doing now, because they've now added life orientation, they've added so many. So in high school, if you pass matric, you must know you can be anything, because we have passed so many subjects. And when you go to the university, you are not going to do those many subjects in your first year. You are going to do a few. You might even do 4 in your course 1. And when you go to course 2, you are going to do 3, because we talk measures. I'm not talking about any other, I'm talking the measures. And if you go to course 3, you are going to do 2. And then you get your BA or whatever. And then when you go to honors, you choose one of the 2 measures, you do honors in it. So we are going to do 1. Now, the higher you go, the simpler and the easier it gets. You're going to do just 1 subject. From matric, you were doing 7 or 8. But then you go to honors, then you do just 1. And when you go to masters, you just do a paragraph. Just a paragraph, then you have got masters. With a doctorate, it's even worse. You do a sentence. It's just a sentence. Then they say you are a doctor. Yes. The higher you go, the easier it gets. Now, would like to advise you to do the following. Number 1, actually I'm going to make this recommendation, that all learners that come to the national finals must come with their own teachers, with the educators who have guided them. And the educators must also participate. The reason we are saying this is because the educator will not have sufficient time to guide you if only you are going to compete. But then if the educator also participates, then it means she's going to have more time with you. And then that's number 1. Number 2, always, and we are saying this all the time, always make sure that your portfolio of evidence has 1, a research paper. We have seen portfolios here, you don't have a research paper. I don't know how you got guided to come even up to here when you don't know the basics. In your portfolio of evidence, there must be a research paper that tells us that this person has done this research and this is the evidence of how he or she got here. And then the teacher, the educator, must have a portfolio of evidence that tells us this is how I guided this learner. And in the past, you would find a number 1 from a particular province as a learner. You'd find that even there, the educator becomes a number 1 in the educator category. Because if the learner is good, the educator is good, because the learner is a product of this educator. I mean, if I teach you to become a doctor, how many times am I a doctor myself? Right. When we look at at your performance, this time it is 50% portfolio and 50% presentation. It used to be 60-40, but this time it's 50%, 50%. Some people are very good presenters, but when you look at the portfolio of evidence, it's bad. Some are well done, but the research paper is not there. If it's there, it's just confusion. So have a very good portfolio and then have a research paper in that portfolio. Once it is not there, don't even want to come here because you'll never get position one. Those are the sort of things we are looking at. And then, in your presentation, it must be clear that this portfolio was researched, was done by you. We must see you in the portfolio of evidence. We must see you as you present that you are the person who did this. But this one, we cannot emphasize it even more. Next time, please let us have educators with their learners all participating, because we have got very few educators now and we have got more learners. Where are the people who guided you? If they are here, but why are they not participating? Because we want them to tell us how they guided you. As simple as that. It was not my intention to make a speech. It's very late now and people are hungry. I hope I'm going to see most of you next year, and I'm promised that we'll be coming here again. But then, those who are in grade 11, unfortunately, you won't be, they say you don't have the second time to make the first impression. So you are in grade 11, next time you are in grade 12, we don't expect you. And if we wish you to come here, it means we say you must fail grade 11. But those that are in grade 8, grade 9, and grade 10, this is a learning curve. Next year, you'll do better than this. You still have a chance to do better than this. So we expect even better quality come next year. Thank you very much.
But thank you very much, Dr. Patlane, for you always amaze me about how easy you go with this feedback, because it's like I was also participating. It's like, hey, I wish I could participate too and just try and incorporate the feedback that you've just given our young people. And of course, we take part of the things that we have to do as the Department of Basic Education to ensure that we improve the quality of the program. I think it also speaks to the fact that as the panel of adjudicators, we probably have to work through you, Sistandi, now Bulara, so that we find a way of maybe also just workshopping them, because as much as feedback is useful, I think it would be more useful if we talk to them before they come here, so that we can see the quality of the products or the output of what they bring to the program improving, because it's like you've been saying the same thing over and over again, but provinces are not improving. So we'll find a way. We'll work together with our curriculum colleagues so that we do workshops before you come.